Hello everybody, so hail the return of Minimalism series. Finally, I'm getting back into it. It's a new year. I do have a lot of ideas in my little trusty book to talk about, benefits of minimalism, because I have just reaped so many benefits of minimalism for myself and my own family that I think it's only fair that I share what has been helpful, because it can be helpful for you as well. So today we're going to talk about minimalism and anxiety. So to be fair, I am not somebody who suffers from extreme anxiety. I generally am not a significantly anxious person, but I do find that with really busy life, with really big to-do lists, really huge life changes, everybody gets a bit anxious, and that's okay. My partner is having more problems with anxiety than me. He's not anxiety ridden by any means, but I think the benefits of minimalism with regards to anxiety really had been helpful to him more so than me. But I've been witnessing this benefit for him for a prolonged period of time, which really warrants this video, which is why I'm filming it. So I have a few things that I feel really can be helpful in terms of benefits that minimalism can provide for you if you do suffer from anxiety. Number one is definitely busy mind, busy space. Oftentimes anxiety cycle is fed through this situation where you have a cluttered environment, and as a reflection, your mind is also cluttered. So it's a self-perpetuating cycle. The more cluttered your mind, the more cluttered your environment, and vice versa. There is lots of significant research done about the concurrent mental health issues like hoarding, etc., connected with anxiety and depressive symptoms. So you can start from the inside, and that's wonderful, but it is not to say that if you have anxiety you cannot also start from the outside, meaning that really organizing and decluttering your environment is going to provide you with a lot of feeling of having more control, which is very helpful when you're anxious. So really this whole point goes to decreasing visual clutter in your environment, and that having a calming effect on the brain to be able to modulate and decrease the anxiety over long periods of time. External order translates to improved order in your mental space. Another point to which I want to speak is shortening your to-do list, and that was really where I benefited the most from minimalism. The less stuff you have, the less stuff you have to take care of, and taking care of stuff takes up a significant portion of our day normally. Some people love their stuff and are happy to do it, but a lot of people feel like all they do all day is chores, and it's very annoying and irritating, and it lets us know that we just don't have enough time in our day to do the things we truly want to do and truly like. So minimizing your environment, decluttering, getting rid of things you don't need and therefore you don't have to take care of as a bonus, it really reduces your to-do list, and your to-do list becomes a lot more full of essential, meaningful items that you actually probably want to get to, versus things that just are cluttering your to-do list, giving you anxiety. It's like, oh my God, I still have 15 points to complete on my to-do list and I can't even fathom how I'm going to do it on time. So shortening your to-do list is a very, very natural and holistic and great benefit of decluttering and minimalism, which I personally really, really enjoy. Minimizing your tasks, and that has to do with our scheduling of our work. Oftentimes we have these huge blocks of work time where we stop being productive. Decluttering your schedule, making sure that, when you're working on a project, you're not checking your emails and you're not answering your phone. Removing distractions and minimizing the amount of stuff you have to do at any given time gives you a chance to do it more effectively. Moreover, scheduling breaks and changes of activity, they're not too frequent, but help you stay on task. You know how much time you have to complete a certain task, and you try to stay as much as possible on time. Moreover, you aren't bothered by, if you're multitasking. Multitasking is a big lie. It actually doesn't work. You're switching back and forth between tasks, and then you have something on the stove and at the same time you go do something else, etc., etc., and you try to do all these things at the same time, and you end up with a burnt supper, unfinished project, and a typo in your email that is supposed to be professional. So focus, do one thing at a time, and declutter your schedule from non-essential items to only essential items. Moreover, schedule changes in activity because that will give you the best productivity, best bang for your buck. Another minimalist thing that a lot of people do online is digital declutter, and that is extremely important, and I'll tell you why. Decluttering your digital space, although it doesn't take any of your physical space, it still takes mental space. For instance, you have all those social media accounts and you consistently delete, and you don't want to see maybe certain posts, or you don't care to read about babies of people on Facebook. Some people really enjoy it. For me, I genuinely don't care that somebody I knew in high school at some point is pregnant for the 7th time. Anyway, if you care about that stuff, then be less diligent with your declutters and perhaps a little bit more liberal with what you keep around. But if you're like me and you really want to keep your social media accounts, your contacts, all of that stuff pretty clean, including your email, very important, pretty clean and not pending and sort of showering you with information that you don't really require, get rid of it. Detox your digital space, get rid of the things that you don't follow, don't care about, that don't add value to your life. This is the very important point to minimalism, is that a minimalist always strives to only keep around things that are valuable or add something positive to your life, versus you just feel bad about getting rid of that person who doesn't even remember your name from your social feed. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Just do it. Get rid of it. You don't never have to see posts you don't want to read again. And desubscribe or unsubscribe from things that you don't want to receive, like all kinds of promos people get and either don't follow through or end up impulse buying. None of that is necessary. Just get rid of it. You end up spending less money if you don't go for deals anyway. Another really important part of minimalism is mental sorting. Sorting what is important from what is not important. And part of that is saying no to things, because a lot of us, especially if you are in a profession that is skill-based and you have certain set of skills and people want you to do things all the time, offer you projects, offer you things to participate in. If you're super social and you have lots of friends who are always after you to hang out and do stuff, and you might just be that yes person who says yes even though they really want to say no, say no. Saying no is very important, mostly because our understanding of our environment and our control over our environment, it's really tied into our well-being and mental health, really, if we're talking about it. The idea of being able to sort what's important and necessary for you from what isn't, and being able to say no to those things that you don't think are necessary, that is going to free up that space for you where you thought you could never get to, like that time where you thought you could never have that time for yourself or for your family or whatever, for things that you find important and useful. Saying no to things is extremely important, and it's all practice. Eventually you just learn to say no. And the last point that I want to make is, a lot of it is mental clarity, mental health, mental space, creating that space for yourself. The last point really has to do with emotional space. Emotional hygiene is what I call this point, and emotional hygiene is exceptionally important for everybody. And different people deal with it differently. Some of it is definitely saying no as well, going back to previous point. Previous point more has to do with your physical time limitations and allowing yourself to say no to free up space and time to do things that are important. Emotional hygiene really has to do with getting rid of those people in your life that you feel are vampires. Meaning that, you just have, all of us have those people in our lives where we, after spending time with them, feel worse than before spending time with them. That's a clear sign that needs to be cleared up. Sometimes it's impossible. Sometimes it's a sibling. Sometimes it's a relative that you absolutely cannot cut ties with, but you can at least minimize the amount of exposure. Because just like mental capacity and mental energy, we also have emotional capacity and emotional energy. And some of us are more emotionally intelligent, some of us are less emotionally intelligent, but all of us do have that sensitivity to some degree where your emotional energy can be drained by people who have that propensity. I do have to say that, well, clinically, obviously a lot of borderline personality people tend to be rather accumulative, not giving, but rather taking in terms of energy and your emotional resources. But not only personality disorders, all personality disorders tend to do that, but you know, people with a lot of emotional emptiness, a lot of neediness, that, I mean, you cannot be a savior for everybody. And if you're starting at some point to feel emotionally drained, feel like you just don't have anything else to give, that means you've gone too far on the giving spectrum. You can't generate emotional energy out of thin air. You have to have, you know, a sense of well-being, a sense of stability, a sense of strength to you to generate that energy, to be able to offer it up. And really the first people who should have a bid on it is your family and friends, close friends, who are, you know, who you have this give and take relationship with. If you're finding that you have people in your life that are emotionally draining to you, cut them out. I know it sounds harsh, but cut them out. You will find that your quality of life improves exponentially, and they will simply, if they are an emotional vampire in that way, they will simply find another victim to suck off energy from. I advise that it should probably not be you. And if you're watching this and you have felt this feeling before of, oh my God, I just don't have anything else to give, I'm empty emotionally after that interaction, I mean, don't feel bad. Everybody experiences this sort of a feeling to one degree or another. It's not a self-blame game. It's not because you're a bad person or a bad friend or whatever. You know, 15th time that your friend gets dumped by her boyfriend and is, again, getting drunk and whining for hours about it, just shut it down. Next time, maybe don't pick up the phone. And it can be hard, especially with friendships and relationships that had been there for a while, but you will see a big difference in terms of how you feel and how you interact with others after that. So preserving your emotional energy, using it judiciously, I'm not saying sparingly, because again, this is all an energy flow and exchange between humans, and that's fine. That's how it's designed to be. But if somebody's all take and take and take and no give at all, it's not worth it. Cut it out, move on. So a bit of a harsh video for first of the year, but I think very, very basic stuff that all of us know, but not all of us apply to our lives. Just a little reminder for your emotional, mental, and energetic well-being. I hope minimalism is something you're interested in, because I'm definitely going to be filming more about it. I do think that it is very important to look at life through that prism of what is essential, what is not essential. And that will give you the best possible chance of actually achieving goals and desires that you truly have, versus all those check marks that aren't very important and you might be able to achieve but won't make you any happier. So tell me what you think about the topic. Tell me if you have applied many of these principles in your everyday life, or are applying them in your everyday life. Let me know if any of those are your New Year's resolutions. For a lot of people, they can be. And that's it for today. See you guys later. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.